pale wakidaji huduma.
All right, to Isiolo County now, where leaders have lashed out at the Teachers Service Commission for what they termed as disregard of local teachers during the recently concluded exercise of employing new teachers to serve in the county. Speaking at the Isiolo Police Grounds on Tuesday during celebrations to mark this year's Mashujaa Day, the County Senator Fatuma Dulo and Deputy Governor Abdi Issa argued that trained indigenous teachers had their rightful jobs handed out to teachers from other counties, a trend they said has been going on for many years.
Hawa wananchi wa Isiolo wako na haki ya kuandikwa hiyo kazi ya TSC ya secondary school. Hivi sasa hii recruitment inaendelea. Ninaomba Mheshimiwa Galma ufuatilie haya maneno. Waso ameandikwa mtu ya kutoka either Kisii ama Busia. Uhuru imeandikwa mtu ya kutoka Tharaka Nithi. Hawa ni wa Kenya, lakini hiyo ni haki ya wananchi wa Isiolo. St. Paul kuna mtu ambaye wa kutoka nje ameandikwa. Na hawa pia wote si wananchi wa Isiolo, ama si wale walimu ambaye wamesomea hapa. Kuna technicality ambaye TSC imekuja naye ya kuzuia ama kuto qualify walimu wa Isiolo. Busia wamekataa kwa sababu walisema watu wa nje hawawezi kuja kuchukua kazi ya wananchi wetu. Kwa nini sisi watu wa Isiolo tunakubali nafasi zetu zichukuliwe na kaunti nyingine?
Mambo ya TSC tunapinga kabisa. Kunayo sheria ambayo inasema ya kwamba 30% watu wanaweza toka nje, lakini 70% lazima ikuwe local. Usiseme ati watu wanasoma. Isiolo watu wamesoma. Kuna wengi sana wamesoma wanazunguka. Kwa hivyo TSC lazima iandike 70% of teachers wakuwe indigenous kutoka Isiolo. Hiyo hatuwezi kubali, na hiyo ni kitu ambayo tunasema we cannot discuss.
Now, drama has erupted at the Law Society of Kenya after division at the council left the tenure of the society's chief executive officer, Mercy Wambua, in a precarious situation. While the majority of council members say they had cleared the embattled CEO to continue in office, LSK President Nelson Harvey sent an alternate statement saying the council had sent her home and a new office holder should replace her with immediate effect. I'd like us to cross over live and listen in.
Public generally. Mine is to assure Kenyans and members of the Law Society of Kenya that I will continue to serve you with diligence, as has been confirmed by the Council of the Law Society of Kenya. I am here by virtue of a resolution of the Council that dismissed all the allegations that had been leveled against me and reinstated me to work. I actually reported to work on Friday, immediately after I was handing in the letter for me to report to work. That's all that I wanted to tell you, Kenyans. Thank you.
That is the embattled LSK CEO Mercy Wambua saying that she is in office because she's been cleared by the LSK Council. But on the other hand, LSK President Nelson Harvey says another person should be taking over. Developing story right there. I'll give you more updates as and when we get it here on KTN News. Now, allow me to take another short commercial break, but I'll be right back in just a few minutes for KTN News Center.
This is KTN News.
Ni nini ungependa kujua kuhusu your favorite Radio Maisha presenter?
Check it. Ijumaija. Chat na mimi on air and social media. Here next Friday. We have a chat to na mimi on air and social media.
Tuma your burning question kwenye Radio Maisha SMS code 22277 au kwenye Radio Maisha Facebook au Twitter page ukitumia #chatnamimi. Get to know your presenter ndani ya Radio Maisha. Radio zaidi ya radio.
Chungu, jitimai, hukumu, kukiri, dhulma, usaliti.
Unapodhihiri ukweli, uongo hujificha, na unapowasili mwanga, giza hutoweka.
You go and dance, then you go and sell your body. Akani capture.
They just have this notion that you are either a demonic person or a devil worshipper who's trying to recruit people.
Kipindi chako cha kimasomaso kimehamishwa kutoka Jumamosi saa 12 jioni hadi Jumamosi saa 4 usiku. Sasa kwa uwazi, kwa kina zaidi. Visa halisi, mjadala pevu, ushauri bomba. Kimasomaso na mie wako Lofty Matambo.
Are you looking for a job? Or do you have a job opening and looking to hire? Well, look no further, because all thanks to the Standard Jobs, your search ends here. The Standard Jobs, the all-inclusive platform that helps bring together potential employees and employers, has a wide pool of talent and opportunities to pick from when it comes to finding what works for you. From blue to white-collar jobs, we've got them all. And that's not even the best part. For just 5 shillings per alert, we'll notify you of any opportunities coming your way, giving you the power to pick what works for you. Usiwachwe nyuma, grow with the Standard Jobs. Kazi sio kutafuta kazi. Visit jobs.standardmedia.co.ke and get hired today. For inquiries, call 0719012211 or email jobs@standardmedia.co.ke. The Standard Jobs. Find what works for you. This is KTN News.
Welcome back to KTN News Center, and we talk about matters of COVID-19, where the coronavirus cases in the country are still surging and exerting pressure on the country's healthcare system. Already major hospitals in Mombasa County are full to capacity and will not be admitting new patients. This as the country registered 571 new cases of COVID-19. Our Health and Science reporter Sada Hassan tells us more.
In the month of June, it was evident that a majority of the new COVID-19 infections was stemming from Mombasa County, the government imposing tougher measures to curb the spread of the virus. And 4 months later, Mombasa is on the spot once again. Mombasa County Commissioner Gilbert Kitiyo, speaking during Mashujaa Day celebrations, warned residents against violating the set guidelines, saying that the recent trend is worrying.
Sasa wakati huu kupata kitanda ya emergency kwa hospitali zetu hautaipata kwa sababu zimejaa. Saa hii mpaka mgonjwa atafutiwe.
According to the county response team, the Coast General Teaching Referral Hospital has 12 intensive care unit beds. Mombasa Governor Ali Joho has promised to impose stringent measures should the situation worsen.
I urge you, the people of Mombasa, if you want, and the entire Republic, if you want us to do well on COVID-19, please just wear your mask when you are close to people.
In the last 24 hours, Mombasa recorded 74 new COVID-19 cases, 53 in Vita, Kisauni 8, Likoni 7, Jomvu 3, Nyali 2 and Changamwe 1. Countrywide, there are 571 new infections out of a sample size of 3,963, bringing the caseload to 45,647. 438 people have recovered from the disease, with 373 from home-based care program and 65 from various hospitals, raising total recoveries to 32,522. 3 patients have succumbed to the virus, and now total fatalities stand at 842. 84 patients are in critical care, with 43 in ICU, while 41 are on supplementary oxygen. With the spike of new infections across the counties, it is now a matter of wait and see, even as the Ministry of Health warns of a likely return to stringent measures. Saada Hassan, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, meanwhile, national and county government officials in Kilifi County have resolved to jointly enforce Ministry of Health guidelines in order to stop the first spread of COVID-19 in the county. Now, County Commissioner Kutswa Olaka and Governor Amason Kingi said they were concerned that there had been an upsurge on the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the country. Hence, he needs to force residents to comply with the containment measures. Now, they urged politicians and religious leaders to be at the forefront in enforcing the measures, urging them not to attend social gatherings whose organizers do not obey the guidelines and protocols given by the national and county governments. The 2 leaders were speaking at Pwani University in Kilifi County during the Mashujaa Day celebrations.
Ugonjwa huu upo, ndugu zangu, na kwa sababu kuna wale ambao wangependa kuheshimu kanuni na kuna wengine hawataki, wale ambao hawataki kuheshimu kanuni itabidi tutawafanya waziheshimu zile kanuni. Na ndio maana tumesema kwamba burial permit itakuwa ya siku moja peke yake, baada ya hapo ina expire, na ukizika unazika without burial permit. Kwa hivyo machifu wetu tumeongea na county commissioner kwamba wakati unapeana burial permit, unasema burial permit hii ni ya tarehe 15 mwezi huu kuanzia asubuhi ya saa 2 mpaka jioni ya saa 11. Hapo ndo mtu azikwe na watu waje zao. Na tumekubaliana na tumesema wanasiasa wenzangu, ukienda mazishi ambayo iko na zaidi ya ile idadi ambayo inatakikana, ondoka, utakuwa mfano mzuri. Ondoka, utakuwa mfano mzuri. Lakini kumejaa na tena kuna kiongozi, utakuwa sasa wewe ni kiongozi, unaongoza watu wako kwa mauti. Na tumesema kiwa wewe ni kasisi, ukienda kuandaa ibada ya wafu, ukifika pale na idadi ni kubwa kushinda ile ambayo inatakikana, sema mimi siwezi kuendesha ibada hii ya wafu. Na imams wetu pia, wakati mnaenda kusali na unaona kabisa msikiti umejaa, tumia kile kipaza sauti kuambia angalau wapunguze ile idadi, ndio muanze ile sala. Lakini watu wakijazana pale alafu sala yanze, bila shaka kuna wengine watatoka kwa maambukizo vile virusi. Na pia mambo ya watu kujazana katika mortuary, hiyo pia tumesema tunasitisha. Na mortuary attendants wote tumeambia kwamba hakuna kuachilia mwili ikiwa idadi ni kubwa pale nje, na mwili utatoka ikiwa polisi wa sehemu ile wana taarifa kamili. Hii yote tunafanya kwa sababu tunataka kulinda maisha yenu.
All right, stringent measures put in place by the county government of Kilifi when it comes to the surging number of COVID-19 cases in the coast region. But as the country was celebrating the Mashujaa feat in Kilifi County, a section of freedom fighters still have almost nothing to smile about. One such freedom fighter is Mukami Kimathi, the widow of the former freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi, who is yet to find independence close to 6 decades later. KTN's News' Emmanuel To now reports.
As Kenyans marked the 57th Mashujaa Day, the struggle for independence in many hearts is still on. For Mukami Kimathi, the wife to the fierce freedom fighter General Dedan Kimathi, it is not yet uhuru, as she laments over landlessness and the elusive search for her husband's remains. In her rented house in Nairobi's Komarok area, the environment does not reflect a person who fought tooth and nail to liberate the country from the shackles of colonialism. With the search for her husband's body turning into a mirage since his execution in 1957, her only solace and hope is in prayer. Some of the politicians who paid her a courtesy call, calling on the government to remember those who laid down their lives for the country's sake.
Hii ni lesson kwamba wenye kupigania Kenya wasikuwa na wachwa nyuma.
Anahitaji samba kule Laikipia, amesema akiwa ndani, kwa sababu walipigania vumbi yetu ama nchi yetu ya Kenya ndio waweze kupata matunda.
Tunataka watoto wetu waheshimike, na kama kuna kazi wapewe, na kama vile wameaidika waweze kufanyika.
But it appears the 90-year-old Mukami is not alone.
Vijana wanapatiwa kazi, kina mama wazee wanapatiwa, lakini wazee hakuna siku watamoja nisikia wakikumbukwa. Maisawe kusikia wakikumbukwa.
Emmanuel To, KTN News, Nairobi.
So now the National Assembly Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee wants to change the constitution to allow political parties nominate the presidential and deputy presidential candidates to parliament. The committee chairperson Jeremiah Kioni says this would allow popular candidates who fail to clinch the presidency a platform to act as opposition leaders in the old constitution. Now the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has warned that the proposed amendments contravene the Court of Appeal judgment that held presidential candidates and deputy presidential candidates do not represent a special interest and risk being declared invalid should it pass into law.
Besides the constitutional amendment bill sponsored by the committee through its chairperson Jeremiah Kioni was introduced for the first reading in the National Assembly on 20th November 2019 before it was subjected to public participation. The committee report was tabled on Thursday to await debate by the House. The bill seeks to amend Article 90 of the Constitution to provide for presidential candidates and their deputies to be nominated to the National Assembly or Senate as first and second nominees respectively. In the current electoral regime, presidential candidates who lose at a general election are unable to have a seat in either the National Assembly or the Senate. In the current electoral regime, presidential candidates who lose at general election are unable to have a seat in either the National Assembly or the Senate. According to Kioni, the bill, if passed into law, the losing candidates will be given a platform to contribute to the governance of the country akin to opposition leaders in the old constitution. The Elections Act 2011 prevents political parties from including in the nomination lists names of persons who have been nominated to participate as candidates in the general elections. The electoral body boss Wafula Chebukati says the proposed amendments are in conflict with Article 97 of the Constitution, which provides for nomination of 12 members by parliamentary political parties. The National Treasury opposed the bill. The government argues the proposed amendments may lead to a referendum which may not be possible to fund, owing to the tight fiscal framework within the 2020-2021 financial year, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights opposed the bill. In its submissions, the Commission said the bill limits the chances for other special interest groups from making it to Parliament. The government human rights watchdog said the proposed amendment would be in disregard of the Court of Appeal judgment. In June 2013, the Court of Appeal declared Section 34, subsection 9 of the Elections Act to be invalid and void. The section stated that the party list may contain a name of any presidential or deputy presidential candidate. In the petition filed by the Commission for the Implementation of the Constitution versus the Attorney General and 2 others, the appellate court held that presidential candidates and deputy presidential candidates cannot possibly have been intended to be the representatives of the special interest groups specified in Article 97 of the Constitution. The court said the inclusion of president and deputy presidential candidates in Article 34, subsection 9 of the Elections Act was an irrational superimposition of well-heeled individuals on a list of the disadvantaged and marginalized. Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
All right, we head back to LSK, where drama has erupted at the Law Society of Kenya after the council cleared the embattled CEO Nancy Wambua to go back to office. But at the same time, LSK President Nelson Harvey says that Mercy should not be in office. Another person is who should be in that office acting as the CEO. So let's cross over back to LSK and listen into what Mercy Wambua had to say.
As you can see, I'm in the office, back and working for the members of the Law Society of Kenya and for the members of public generally. Mine is to assure Kenyans and members of the Law Society of Kenya that I will continue to serve you with diligence, as has been confirmed by the Council of the Law Society of Kenya. I am here by virtue of a resolution of the Council that dismissed all the allegations that had been leveled against me and reinstated me to work. I actually reported to work on Friday, immediately after I was handed in the letter for me to report to work. I was subjected to the due process. I was suspended for the period from 15th September to 19th of October. I had reservations. Actually, I objected and raised an objection against the suspension. However, I decided to subject myself to the due process. I appeared before the hearing, and the council made his determination. That is all that I can say. I don't know anything about those allegations.
All right, time for some international news. Britain's government and local leaders in the northern region of Greater Manchester have failed to reach agreement on imposing stricter restrictions to control the spread of COVID-19. Now, Britain is undergoing a second wave of the virus, but Prime Minister Boris Johnson is resisting pressure for a second national lockdown and is instead pursuing a strategy of imposing tighter restrictions in virus hotspots.
Another song of freedom.
In summary, at no point today were we offered enough to protect the poorest people in our communities through the punishing reality of the winter to come. Even now, I am still willing to do a deal, but it cannot be on the terms that the government offered today, because on those terms I could not meet the commitments I made to people on the lowest incomes, to people who are self-employed, to the freelancers in this city who need our support. I could not do it on those terms.
To Ethiopia, where it has a problem to deal with its worst locust invasion in 25 years. Joe Davis reports.
Ethiopia has been tackling its invasion of locusts for months. Now the United Nations says the problem has got so bad, it's the worst it's been here for 25 years. The swarms of insects are destroying the country's crops, and with it the livelihoods of millions. Farmer Indira Ahmed doesn't know how he's going to feed his children.
My sorghum investment in 5 hectares of land was robbed by swarms of locusts. I have 7 children and 5 of them go to school. I will not be able to either feed them or send them to school after this nightmare.
The locusts have damaged an estimated 200,000 hectares of land in Ethiopia since the start of the year. it's had a devastating impact on food supplies. A swarm of locusts the size of a square kilometre can eat as much food in a day as 35,000 people. Fatima Saeed has just given birth to her 6th child, and she's worried.
I went to hospital to have my baby. I heard the shocking news that my vegetation on my 5 hectares of land had gone in just 3 days. This is not a good way of welcoming a new baby. I have fallen into a serious problem. I'm going to starve with my 6 children.
The coronavirus pandemic has made tackling the problem even harder, as it's disrupted supply chains of pesticides and other equipment to fight them off. The locusts originate in Yemen, but the conflict and chaos there has made it harder to tackle the issue at source, spraying pesticide from the air, now all but impossible.
All right, that bump on air means I need to bring KTN News Center to an end. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks to the men and women behind the scene who make News Center a success. My name is Brenda Zeda Radido. God bless Lofty Matambo with Leo Mashinani up next. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
This is KTN News.
The coronavirus pandemic has crippled sporting operations and hit hard players who depended on sports for livelihood. The prevailing financial crisis in the world means you either be innovative to remain relevant or perish. In Kayole village, women Premier League side Kayole Starlets are determined to make ends meet for their players to cope with the current situation. They are producing detergents, but in a small scale. At least, unlike their colleagues, they have a reason to smile.
So the moment unapata hiyo pesa, at least you have money to go to the salon, you have money to buy pads, you don't have to keep on begging from people, at least you have something at the end of the day.
Hiyo pesa, sisi kama madem tunaona inaweza tusaidia sana in terms of finance. Kama sasa tukirudi game, najua itakuwa poa vile, but itakuwa boost kwetu.
Their Premier League campaign 2019-2020 season has been disastrous. In several occasions, they have lacked means to honor matches due to financial problems. And with the pandemic now, at least they have time to prepare.
Emi yetu kubwa ya kukama na project ya sabuni. Unapata kila time tumekuwa tukienda game maybe away, tunaanza kupiga masimu, tunaomba pesa changiwe. But sai at least tutakuwa emi yetu so itakuwa atuchangiwi. Ni wewe ukuje utusupport kununua sabuni peke yake, then sisi tutakuwa hiyo pesa tutajua vile tutaenda nayo game, wachezaji wataget maybe something kama allowance.
At least sasa tuko na something, mkiambia mtu niongezee hii, anakuulizanga uko na ngapi kwanza. Tuko na kidogo inaweza tusaidia, ndio atuongeze pia hiyo ingine. Sasa hii sabuni imetusaidia, na hope itatusaidia cause pia wasichana sisi kama si hii sabuni sijui kama tungekuwa tunapatana by the way.
A 5-liter jerrycan goes for 300 shillings. When a player makes her sales, she is rewarded with a commission while the profit goes directly into the team's account. They have never done this before since the establishment in 2008.
Ukianza biashara, huyu sponsor akienda amekupea pesa, then ufanya nao kitu. Akienda utabaki na kitu kingine ile unaweza fanya kukusustain kwa ligi. Because unapata pia corporates wengi hawatambui timu za wasichana kupata sponsor, but through business I think boli ya wasichana tutainua pamoja.
The coronavirus pandemic has ravaged the sports fraternity, leaving sportsmen and women in limbo with their dreams at stake. But for Kayole Starlets, they have had to be innovative to remain afloat. Kayole Starlets no longer play football on these Calvary grounds, but on the other side of life, they're making progress in business every single day.
This is KTN News. Get your aerial decoder for 1,499 shillings or a satellite dish for only 2,999 shillings.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
In a time when we need to make all the smart business choices and stay afloat, reaching out to your client base and business connects with bulk SMSs will help you do just that. We're talking big bulk discounts